You know I got the sauce.
Sauce.
You know I'm saucy.
Saucy. Can I just lay on you, Mommy, answer questions?
My throat's kind of scratchy,
Yeah,
so
that. I'm like, did you get exposed?
not that I know of.
Are you infected?
Are you infected?
Are you infected? We were at the park yesterday. Just walking, minding our business, you know. And some child says to another child, "Are you infected?"
Are you infected?
I was like, infected
new
with
game.
what? It's the new game, I
Are
guess.
you infected?
Forget
COVID.
Forget tag. It's are you
Are
infected?
you infected?
You're infected.
You're infected.
You got COVID? You got COVID.
You're a zombie. I'm a zombie.
Well,
We're
I hope
infected.
it never comes to that.
Hello, we are the Beaver family.
Hello.
Hello.
And ever since Wife Swap came out on Hulu, you guys have lots of questions. You guys have asked some of those questions, some really great questions on our Q&A section on our TikTok account. And as promised, we will answer some of them. There's some that we might not be able to answer. If we don't answer your question, please don't take it personally.
We signed a 40-page contract.
Have you talked to that other family since? Have we talked to the Smoke family
I love the
since?
Smoke family. I found them on Facebook shortly after Facebook came about, and oh my gosh, I enjoyed being there. I really bonded with those kids. I wanted to follow those kids throughout their lives because I really cared about them. In the short amount of time that I spent with them, I really care about them. So yeah, I'm in touch with Aletha, I'm in touch with Landon, I'm in touch with both of the kids. One of Addie's, her oldest, when he was itty bitty, he FaceTimed me one night, and then Aletha was like, "Who are you talking to?" And she turned the phone around. I was like, "Hi, Aletha."
Hi,
Aletha. So yeah, we're still in touch.
I'm friends with Addie on Facebook.
Yeah, and she used to be a boss babe.
Yeah, she sold LuLaRoe. We were in her Facebook group, and I would watch her.
Oh man, we would
her
watch her
lives.
lives. She was very entertaining. I love that family. I really do.
How does your mom go her whole life without ever waking up at 6 a.m.?
Because I'm a witch. It's witchcraft.
It's true. We live in a parallel universe.
How was the filming process? What do you remember the most?
The filming process was at least on our end, was tough because you were still going to school and I was still working. It's not like you just get to quit after a full day of work and you come home and film until you're done filming. But for the most part, you're having to do this on top of everything else, so it's pretty exhausting.
See, they were very long work days. Well, I would get up at 5 a.m. so that I could be ready for 6 a.m. taking the kids to school and going to work, and then I would come home from work and then we would film. And it was very late nights, especially for kids, and that was my biggest concern, was for the well-being of the children. But I know that on our end they were really good at having a cutoff time, to so that the kids could take their baths and get ready and go to bed.
The time that they were filming and doing any sort of interviews with Emily was always like post-bath. That's why her hair was always wet.
Her hair was always wet. Every time she had like an interview
Like,
with
oh my God, you gotta get to bed.
that wet ass hair.
I don't really remember all that much, to be honest. It's weird.
Well,
I mean, I was 10.
you were 10.
We couldn't be in touch with her. We couldn't
We
talk
were
to each
not
other.
allowed to be in touch with one another during that time period at all.
It was
That was
tough. It was tough not being able to speak to you or talk to you.
Yeah, because we had never been away from each other.
Oh. Since the show, did your mother change her parenting style, or is it still the same? Well, I'm 27. show.
Went through a lot of different stuff since then.
But directly after, did you change your parenting style? You're the greatest mother that ever lived on the face of this planet.
The greatest mother that ever lived on the face of this planet.
So no.
So no, I did not.
Because she's the greatest mother to have ever lived on the face of this planet.
According to me, in 2004.
Do they still get creative in the bedroom? And by they, meaning them?
us.
Well, yes, because I mean we've been married now 28 years.
29 this year.
29 this coming year.
No, it'll be 30 next year.
30. Really? What is
Yeah.
this? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yes. When you're married for that amount of time, in order to keep the marriage fresh, yes, you do.
Well, why not get creative? It's a lot of sex to have. Why not have it in many different ways? And why not go, oh, I want to try this, and then go, ooh, I don't.
Yeah.
Never mind
Even
that.
if you don't wind up liking it, it's just,
Try stuff.
If you're married for 30 years
Try
almost,
stuff. Y'all try stuff.
and not creative in the bedroom,
you're gonna be bored.
You're not happily
I don't know what
married.
you're doing.
You're gonna be bored.
You're very
not
unhappy.
happily married.
You're unhappily married.
We might catch grief for that one. Look, I have missionary sex, and I have been having missionary sex with my husband for 40 years, and we are very happily married. Thank you very much.
Why did you sign up? And what was it like actually getting on the show?
Actually, getting on the show was very fast.
It happened so quick.
It happened so quickly. I had an agent, like an online agency I was using. I found the casting call. I applied for it. Like, I literally hit send and the phone rang. And it was one of the people in charge of the show. They said, can you get us a videotape and answer these questions? Answered the questions and overnighted them. And then the next day they were like, okay, you're green lighted. So we were going. I mean, it happened that fast.
Why did you?
Why did I?
Yeah.
Oh man, reality TV was such a
very
new
new.
thing, and the casting call was for fun families with strong opinions, with strong personalities.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we have a fun family, and we have strong personalities, so I'm going for it. My degree, my bachelor's degree is in theater, my master's degree is in theater, and my master of fine arts degree is in theater. So why would I not?
What happened to your dogs? Were they okay after being forced to be outside by the other family?
3 weeks before we went on the show, we had Mary, who was a Catahoula leopard dog. We had Steve, who was a 13-year-old Pekingese. He had been our very first pet. That
He was our first pet.
Rescued from the shelter. We got him when she was 2 years old. And we had Peanut, and Peanut was 3 years old, and Peanut was her dog. Peanut was a Shih Tzu. There were 2 Chow Chows that lived. We lived in a townhouse with an adjoining fence. There were 2 Chow Chows that lived next door. One day, in the middle of the day, those dogs dragged Steve under the fence, and when I finally got around to the other side and like broke into this woman's backyard, they were eating him. So I had to pry my dog out of these dogs' mouths.
Pretty
It
traumatizing.
was traumatizing. So then 2 weeks later, the same thing happened to Peanut. So the dogs that you see on the show, I had gone to the shelter after Steve, and I got a little plaque for him, a memorial plaque. And I looked at the people at the shelter. They knew who I was, and I said, give me the most fucked up dog that you have. They took me in the very back of the shelter to like the depths of hell back there, and there was this huge 250-pound big
Australian
black
Shepherd.
Australian Shepherd Border Collie, some kind of mixed breed
Yeah, he was huge.
dog that was out of control, and they said, we're putting him down today. And I was like, let me have it. And he was so great. He was such a great dog. And when it happened to Peanut, I then went back to the shelter and said, give me another fucked up dog. And they gave me a pit bull. His owners had tried to fight him, and he was too docile.
He had been injured.
He was injured, and he had a forgot the name of the surgery. He had something wrong with his patella. And they said it's going to be really expensive. You're going to have to get it fixed. I was like, I got it covered. The vet that lived in that town where we lived at the time did the surgery. He was like, I've never done a surgery like this. Do you want to assist me? And I was like, yes, I do want to assist you with it. That would be awesome. And so those dogs that I had just acquired, newly trained. When I found out they had been left outside, of course it was this whole knee jerk of those dogs next door are going to kill those dogs. And it was also this fear after, of course you can see in the if you watch the show, you can see there's a buildup of like anxiety for me with the way things started to just kind of melt down. So the first thing that went through my head was they're going to get killed. And the second thing that went through my head was all the mountains of paperwork that I had signed that said I would not leave them outside without food, water, shelter, or you can come and seize them. So it was a whole multitude of stuff. I'm like, are they dead? Did they get killed? What's happened? Because we weren't allowed to speak before that table meeting. So everything that unfolded there, we found out fresh and new.
One thing is that our dogs have never been ones where we just put them outside.
I don't think anyone should do that.
We have always tried to have a scenario where our dogs are free to go inside and outside as they please. Whether it's a doggy door or some sliding glass door.
And I think there needs to be a balance of both. I think they should be able, if you're able to have a doggy door, that gives them the freedom to be outside when they want to be outside, and then inside when they want to be inside. So our dogs have a lot of freedom in that respect. But the dogs from the show, which aired in 2004, are no longer alive.
But we have new dogs.
We have new dogs.
We have a new dog
New
to
dog.
this family, Wilson. And to everyone that contributed to the GoFundMe, I can't say
Cannot thank you enough.
He's doing so much better. He's very
Oh my gosh,
happy.
he was in such a good mood today. He was having.
He
He's very, very well recovered.
He's still recovering, like it's a 7-week recovery from the surgery. And so he does have bad days. But he's doing really well.
What was the audience reaction to your family when the episode aired?
I don't know if I just saw the dark side of the internet. The audience that I knew of didn't like us at all. When you go on television, you're not told by anybody, oh, people could potentially hate you.
He could hate you.
So when people hate you, it's like 5 million people suddenly hate you. You don't really know what to do. When you suddenly overnight, people are calling the house because you forgot to get the number unlisted. People are like we had somebody throw a deer leg into the yard, which I thought was creative. I lost my job, and that was hard. We had to hide out for about a year so that stuff could die down.
So now that it's been released on Hulu, like everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's such a different time now.
What I find really interesting is that the topics that were discussed on that show are still relevant today. And I'm like, are we still fighting this battle? Are we still fighting this? We're still going around with this flag?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm kind of blown away.
It's more socially acceptable, I feel, to be liberal now than it was back then.
It is. I think that largely because that side of the conservative movement that's so almost rabid,
Right.
that it defends the Confederacy and the battle flag and all of that sort of stuff, is so radicalized that liberalism doesn't seem that fun.
Depends on what side you're on.
Depends on what side you're on,
Yeah.
obviously, but I think that largely speaking, to go that far with it, a lot of people are trying to distance themselves from that thing. Just because we're taking down Confederate statues,
We are.
we're taking the Confederate flag off of state flags.
Yeah, the University of Arkansas renamed the dining hall because it was named after someone really racist.
Yeah, and they also named a street that we lived on in student housing. They renamed it because he was a slave owner or something.
He was a slave owner, yeah. So the times have changed, and it's not about some sort of cancel culture. It's looking at something and stop celebrating it, and looking at it as something to learn from, and move forward away from a really dark time in our nation's history, and just say, you may want to memorialize it, but for a lot of people, they don't feel that way about that. That's a whole time period that did not have rights as human beings, much less citizens. So I think that we have moved a lot away from that, and I think that I can appreciate that. I'm glad to see nowadays, and even like when we did the show, that we had the freedom to be able to express our discontent with that. To say, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. And to have my freedom to say so.
Oh, there is something I want to say since I'm sharing all my opinions. It doesn't matter if you've got somebody who's flying a Confederate flag. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick to somebody just because they have a different belief system than you do. The whole point of all of this, of fighting for rights and holding up signs and writing senators and stuff, is so that we come together as a nation. Because until we love each other, we're not going to heal. So I don't care if you don't agree with something that somebody is doing. Just ignore what they're doing and be nice to them, because that might be what they need.
Someone asked, where are your siblings at? But I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child. So I think you might be getting us confused with one of the other families. What do your parents do for a living?
I write poetry.
I'm actually a handyman.
Yeah, and the stuff that you do is way like upper level handyman stuff. Here, he says he's a handyman. Okay, here's the thing. Look it up. If you have a dimmable LED light bulb in your house, it's because of this guy. He patented the first dimmable LED. I am a former school teacher. I have taught dance and drama to adults with disabilities. My forte is that my niche is with adults with disabilities, and that's what I do.
I actually did an evening activities program for adults with disabilities.
Yeah.
Y'all started doing films.
Look up the Larry Show on YouTube. There are 3 episodes, and
it's so cute.
That we produced that show.
It's so good.
It's so good. Love the people on that show.
But we're trying to be full-time content creators.
Yes.
Well, she is.
She is.
We're not. Get along for the ride.
We just do what you tell us to do.
I'm the creative director.
She is the creative.
I know y'all are just here for Jeff, but none of this wouldn't exist without me.
That's
it's
right.
True. We're just the talent.
You look at my content,
she
it ain't that.
Happen. Neither is mine. What was it like for you, being 10 years old and then going to school and the show is aired? And
oh, it was kind of fun.
Did your friends?
My friend Austin was really happy I said his name on television. As a 10-year-old, I don't remember being bullied because of the show.
I think that you were probably protected from that bullying because you went to a private school. You also went to a private school that was very liberal.
I'm super grateful for that because
oh man,
how traumatizing for a child if you were bullied.
If you had been in public school, I think it would have been a lot different.
We answered a lot of questions. There's still a lot more. So
there are so many questions about Glenn that people want answered.
We'll save that for next time because we don't want this video to be too long. So
it's part 1.
Thank you for being fans.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being fans. Thank you for loving us. We love you.
Thank you
We
for
love you.
loving who we are and accepting us for who we are, and we love you guys.
It's such a breath of fresh air to have all of these people who really
Really nice people.
like us, and
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun Beaver family content. We put videos out every Sunday.